Hello everyone, this is Caroline, and today's class is Healers Program Series number 9. If you are joining here for the first time, please make sure that you go back and listen to classes 1 to 8, since we are progressing from class to class, and the material that is covered today is based on whatever you've learned in the past classes. So in today's class, we are going to add a new tool. The same principle is going back to the root cause to know how to heal it. We're going to talk about sound today, a very fascinating topic, but of course we're going to keep it related to the healing. I'm going to teach you some specific sound and light frequencies, how they work and how you use them and when you use them. You will feel the effects of these tools. And of course, we're going to practice surrogate healing. We're going to practice with the volunteers. And like I said, if you don't get to go this time, make sure you ask to receive the healing that you need to receive through others who are volunteering. As you know, this is multidimensional and it will work, okay? So here we go. In fact, I'm getting a lot of comments on how you have been experiencing these healings, even though it is not your turn volunteering. So moving right along, we're going to talk about sound. So we define sound as a wave, a mechanical wave. And the frequency of the wave falls within a range, which is the hearing spectrum of a human. It's 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, plus or minus. It's not that accurate, but plus or minus that much. So what this means is the frequencies of that wave, if they fall between that range, then you will hear it as a sound. If not, you will not hear it. But we know that there are other sound waves that exist. For example, you've heard of ultrasound. That you know how in medical uses and other types of things, there are sound waves that are used and that exist on the earth plane, but we simply do not hear them. We just hear the one portion that falls within this frequency range. Okay, so in the case of healing, we're gonna use the musical scale because it's just easier. Instead of saying that frequency and that frequency, plus for the light frequencies, we're using kind of the Hertz system as well. So, but let's talk a little bit about the music scale, or how does it really work? Of course, everybody knows about the musical keynotes A to G, of course, and you know the musical notes have a particular frequency. In fact, you can take a look here and see that, for example, the C note is about 256 hertz or what have you. A is about, I don't know, 480 or something like that, plus or minus, of course. So these notes and these frequencies are really, it's a human agreement. In other words, it wasn't a universal system that says that the C note, which is by the way, those who use do re mi, it would be the do, for example. You know, nobody says that it had to be at the center of the keynote spectrum, musical spectrum. It was more of a general agreement, and that's how the musical scale system was created. And so if we use this particular scale for healing, then we are producing a particular vibration, a particular frequency. But you know, guess what? You guys have been learning this method and you understand frequency. So take a look at this. If I'm telling you that the musical notes, and if we're working with the musical scale A to G, and those frequencies are between 250 and 500 hertz, then what is the problem here? The problem is these frequencies are not necessarily high enough to restore the human cell to their ultimate functioning, because we know better now. We know that your cellular system needs to be all together with an overall frequency of 734. So if you're only using these keynotes and nothing else, well then you are not aligning your physical cells with the higher vibration, you see. So that's why the sound healing that's out there, that's only using those keynotes, is very much insufficient. And of course, now you know better. We know that the earth and the human hearing spectrum is not floating around in space by itself. The earth is connected to a galaxy. The earth is connected to a universal structure. Therefore, even sound continues to exist. In fact, it comes from the universal center. And so the cosmic sound that comes from the universe and travels through space and arrives at the Earth grid is going to fracture. We've seen that before with the light spectrum. In the same way, the sound, as it travels through a different medium, in fact, this is a very logical thing. Everybody knows that the same sound wave, if it travels through air, through the atmosphere, or if it travels through water, or if it travels through another material object, is not going to come out the same on the other end. In fact, that's how musical instruments are different. It's because the medium, this frequency, the keynote C, for example, on a piano does not sound the same as on a string or an other type of instrument, because the medium is different. And so therefore, the sound waves coming from the center of the universe are traveling through space through a particular medium, and then they fracture through the Earth grid and arrive into our ears, into the human spectrum in a completely new arrangement, so to speak. So that's why the cosmic sound, the universal sound as it is existing in the universe, only reaches a certain part of our hearing system. If you wanna look at it in this way, to have a better visual, you will see that here you are within the Earth grid, and you have the human hearing spectrum, which is 20 to 20,000 hertz. But of course, there is a larger hearing spectrum that maybe animals can hear, or that we can use for other things. But you being connected to the galactic and the universal structure, being a universal being, therefore you have access to an entire spectrum that is galactic and universal. And the fact that you don't hear it does not mean that you cannot access it. The same way as the light frequencies, in fact, as you can see, even on the Earth, we use the ultrasound. We cannot hear the ultrasound normally, and so, but we can still use it. So the idea is to understand that the universe is made of information, and part of this information, or a form of this information, a form of energy, is the sound. And so therefore we can have access to this information here on Earth, whether we hear it or not. So in this case, we can redefine what we call sound. I want to say that sound is then a form of energy that is made of waves. It allows movement, it allows transmutation, reconfiguration of various types of particles. The universe uses sound to thrust material life into existence, meaning a planet, a star, or intelligent life. Sound is used to shape, encode, manipulate, manage, maneuver, and position all material life where it is needed. So, in other words, sound is a form of energy that the universe uses to move things, to create things, and to move things. In fact, let me see if I can show you very quickly this footage here. It's a little bit, let me see, I had it bookmarked, but it's just, sorry. Because it's quite impressive to just see this for yourself. And you will see, if you want to turn down the volume, but because it's quite annoying. So this is sand. These are just grains of sand. Some of you may have seen this before. And as you project a wave of sound onto these grains of sand, which are particles of energy, you will see that the shape will change. The frequency of the sound changes. That pushes the particles of sand into a new form. Okay? Good. So this is just to show you, because it's pretty impressive to just kind of see how by projecting simply a frequency onto a particle of light, you can, or a particle of material life, in fact, in this case it was sand, you can move and reshape, reconfigure these pieces of sand. So if that is happening on the sand, particles of sand, so you can imagine that sound is going to move things inside your cells. Okay, so I just think this visual is quite convincing. So let's talk about when you use sound, what is the difference between sound and light and other things? Sound has a very powerful, very precise effect. It's like a laser. It shatters and breaks up on contact. In fact, in this little footage that we just saw, you saw that it was breaking up the shape of these particles. It penetrates very fast and very deep. It reconstructs at a DNA level, but it also models, massages. It has certain effects, like a massaging effect of some sort, okay? Very different from sound. To be aware that using sound in healing could be quite powerful, could be too much, could be too strong. So make sure you are asking your guidance if it is time, if it is necessary to use sound. If not, if you're not 100% sure, do not use sound. Of course, you're not a machine, just like this earlier we were hearing frequency sounds coming out of a machine, and of course you have a guidance system that will allow you to remain safe, but still you would be surprised how sometimes your energy could be quite powerful if you intend to use sound. This is just another visual to give you a sense of how the sound waves, as they come in contact with the block, it breaks up the block and allows it to dissolve through a breaking. So all you have to do is maintain the sound wave and imagine it, visualize it going from you to the cell that you are targeting. Okay, so this is all good. Now, how do we know which sound vibration am I using? A, B, C? What am I using to as a sound frequency to work on a cell? As I said, we're going to use the keynote system, the musical keynote system. A to G is what's known on the earth as the musical scale. Spectrum anyway, but I'm going to teach you another scale using the musical scale as a reference. If A to G was used only on the earth, then you can use R, you can use U, you can use V, which are universal, which are galactic. And I'm going to teach you another frequency that is zero universal. The effects, again, it breaks up, it shatters, it reorganizes, reconstructs. All of this we're going to practice in just a minute. So this is just an overview to tell you that there are keynote sound notes, again going by the music system, that are galactic. If you know how to reach them, they will have very powerful effect. Of course, in the strength, you can maintain, like I said earlier, it could be quite strong. So you can control, you can feel if it needs to be very strong, very sustained, if you need to make it circle. All of this we're going to experience in just a minute after I'm done here with the presentation. You can move it clockwise, counterclockwise. You can go up and down. You can move it yourself or hold it and allow it to move, to reshape the cell. And of course, the speed of sending the information could be very high, or it could be just medium and low. And like I said, all of this you will know how to use, and the movement, the strength, the speed, all of this through your guidance system. We're going to practice this in just a minute. So here are the specific frequencies. Again, this is a visual to help you remember this. Sometimes it's difficult to memorize, but if you see it on a screen, it's easier. So here on the earth, we have keynotes A to G. And if you were to reach further, you will have keynote R, which shatters, breaks up the block, okay? You send keynote R onto a cell and it breaks it up. If you use keynote U, it will reshape it, remodel it. You saw on the grains of sand earlier how that is done. It's absolutely astounding. And V reconstructs the cell. I chose these specific 3 sound frequencies because they kind of go together. You break up the block, you reshape it, and you kind of rebuild it. 1, 2, 3, one after the other. And of course, there's another frequency that I call zero universal sound. And when you say zero universal sound and you send that frequency on the cell, it kind of resets. It's as if you kind of press the reset button on a machine. The whole programming of that cell is going to just gel into place. It's absolutely incredible, the experience of that. We're going to have a sense of what feels like in just a minute. So I know we're focusing on sound, but I'm going to also throw in a couple of light frequencies as well. These are because you're already working with light, so I'm going to teach you a couple of specific light frequencies as well. And we know, as a reminder, the human light spectrum is 1 octave of light. This is only on the earth. You don't have to, you can go back to your notes later on, but we know, as of course by now, that the light spectrum continues on into the universe to an infinite amount of octaves. And we know that you have a mind channel that reaches way into the galaxy, and where you can reach other frequencies of light, whether you see them or not. We know that they're there, and so I'm giving them to you. And if you use 1200 hertz of light, this particular frequency is going to once again go very deep, very fast into the block, into the cell, and dissolve whatever is there. And if you then follow it with 1800 hertz, then the cell is going to reorganize itself, kind of reposition itself. And of course, we know that you also have a mind channel that reaches all the way into the universal center, and you can reach another specific light frequency that I call zero universal light, which is not the same thing as universal sound. You're going to feel all of this in just a minute and understand. So if you put the two together, you have light and sound frequencies that are very specific. This is not, you're not just saying, okay, well, whatever galactic light sound, you know, you can just jump in and whatever happens, happens. You need to be specific. So you will get to feel and experience these specific frequencies on your cells, on your own cells. And once you feel the difference, then you will know how to use them on someone else. All right? So here we go. I think, let me see. Let's practice, okay? So we're gonna begin to practice. You're gonna practice on yourself this particular thing that I just showed you. This slide right here. We're going to practice on ourselves, and I'm going to lead you into these different frequencies for you to really discern what they are and how they act on your body. So, but before we do that, let me just see if there are any questions. Go ahead and please let me know if you have any questions before we begin to experience this thing, these different frequencies. Go ahead, raise your hand or type in your question if you have a question on what I just discussed. Go ahead, Kim, did you have a question?
Yes, often in a healing session, other frequencies will come to you. For instance, Q. It says if your guides are telling you to use that, is that okay then to use the different frequencies that are brought to you?
Yes, of course. And in fact, that's exactly what's happening here, is that you are opening up to other frequencies that normally are not used, or people are not kind of sharing with you, or they simply don't know about. And so what happens is, as you begin to open up and understand that there are these other frequencies, your guidance system is going to bring to you more and more information. I mentioned this many times in the beginning of this course. It's almost like you are putting in all of the information in your consciousness, and at one point it's like you are programming yourself, and at one point everything will become automatic. What you are doing here is you are opening up to frequencies that are not normal or not known that they work. But as soon as you do, then the rest of them will come in. And of course, if you feel very strongly to use a Q, then go ahead and use a Q. You will see I use H a lot, even though I'm not teaching you H. But you begin with these and you train your brain to use them, and more will come through. All right, Susan, I have heard the note A is the sound of creation. All right, so after what I just explained, do you really think that the sound A is the sound of creation? There are many people teaching. Sound healing according to the way they understand it, but the keynote A has a particular frequency, which is, I don't know, 480 something, and so it's hardly the note of creation, I believe. Okay, the note of creation would be more close to the zero universal, which you will get to experience, which is a massive consciousness. All right. So any other questions? If we, okay, let's see. What about using musical instruments and or Tibetan sound bowls? Yeah, again, there's all the crystal bowls and all these things and all the what do you call these things that you, the tuning forks. That's, again, understanding the principle of retrieving information, retrieving energy, retrieving the frequency from an object. If I say 1200 hertz, or if I say I'm using an R or a V in terms of sound, and I'm sending that sound wave to you or to the cell, it's not going to have the same effect as if I am moving around a tuning fork or I was going to say a rice bowl, a crystal bowl. So because the energy or the wave, the sound wave coming from the crystal bowl is coming from an object. And even if it's made of crystal, it is still a solid material object. It is really, you cannot compare a sound wave coming from a material object, even if it's crystal, even if it's very pure crystal, even if it's round or what have you, than the one coming from my consciousness that is reaching billions of light years away and retrieving directly a frequency that is pure in its pure form and bringing it to you without my intervening or without it coming through me or through any other instrument. In fact, we've been talking about the music that Fritz is creating and others are creating through the Omnia method. That's exactly the way this is working. We are using the instrument, but the consciousness of the person creating the music is reaching and retrieving very, very specific frequency. In fact, that's how we called some of the pieces. We called them zero universal or what have you. We called them 1600 hertz or whatever. They are very, very specific, translated directly into you. Completely new paradigm of bringing sound tones into your consciousness. All right. How do you send universal sound? Exactly the way I just said. I am sitting with you, and just like you are in a session like this, and as I am sensing that you are needing a particular sound, I focus on the area that needs the sound, and I simply direct that to come to you because I can reach all the way up because I am connected. Of course, I'm speaking whoever does the connection, you as the healer, me as the healer at that particular time. I am reaching all the way up here and bringing this particular vibration to you. So that's exactly how you do it, through intent, knowing that your mind channels are the one reaching out and bringing the information to you. All right, I have a feeling of a sound when I do the connection to source. What could that be? Yes, there is a certain tone that you are tapping into. That you when you do the connection. In fact, there's a vibration also in the, for example, in the my voice, for example, when you are hearing the voice, even though you're hearing English words or what have you, but the frequency is really, I'm connecting to this zero universal sound as I am speaking to you. And so you may be hearing, the English words, but my consciousness is bringing the information from up here. And so that's all of this information, these sound waves are coming to you through what I am speaking. So, of course, now Christina is saying, so the consciousness behind is important. Of course it is important, and that's what you are learning to do. You are not just any other healer who is going to go there and buy crystal bowls and tuning forks and just ding-dong all over the place. You are a a conscious healer in the sense that you are using your consciousness to retrieve information from the universe, not just from what's out here, not just what's available down here, but from the universe, retrieving the information with accuracy and precision as needed to bring it to you, to bring it to others in your healing. This is a completely different way of healing, and I hope you are beginning to realize that. Okay, the solfeggio, okay, frequency special in any way? No, again, there is, I have to say that there is there's actually, I mean, it's a very fascinating topic. There's actually a lot of mathematics behind, behind music. And it's like the frequency or the space between each note and each octave and all of that. There's actually a mathematical formula between the A and A sharp and all of that stuff. So without getting into the details, so there is a mathematical logic behind it as well. But in fact, you can also find a 0 point, how should I say, the golden mean actually in some of the musical creations out there. And so in sometimes these, when they are carefully created with this golden mean, then of course they are opening you up to the rest of the universal frequency of sound. Because we talked about geometry in, I don't know what lesson, going back into geometry. We talked about the smaller geometric shape fitting into the bigger geometric shape. So what happens is that you are creating a particular frequency through a sound. If this frequency is perfectly choreographed or maintained through a 0 point, we're going to talk about 0 point next week or the following, then it will match all the 0 points of all of this Earth grid with the 0 point of the galaxy, therefore with the universe. Then you can open up to the universal frequencies. So not all music is choreographed perfectly. Some is, some isn't. All right. I often get high-pitched ringing in the ears when healing is taking place in my own body. It's quite amazing. So that the high pitch ringing is actually a very high frequency. So the high pitch, those ringing in the ears, I'm not suggesting that everybody who has ringing in the ears is getting downloaded. I'm just saying that very often you will receive a very high frequencies into your ears that sounds like a high pitch. In fact, you are downloading a ton of information. You are bringing all sorts of information about maybe who you are, what you're doing, your connection to creator, to creation, what have you. But because this information is so far away, it is not heard as a coherent information through the normal hearing spectrum, then it's going to sound like a high pitch, and you cannot decipher it right there. But if you allow it to then integrate within your cellular makeup and just relax into it, you will then translate this high pitch into information that is very clearly understood by your physical brain. Okay? What about transforming a piece of music into universal sound? That is a teacher who claimed to be able to do this, but according to the clarity of this course, I'm doubting it. Is that really possible? Does every type of sound have an inherent universal consciousness for healing? Again, if you are using the musical tones and saying, put a C into your heart and put an A into the crown and all that stuff, to me, this is very, it's very kind of beginner kind of 101 kind of a thing. It's very small thinking, understanding that you are a very complex, multidimensional being. So you cannot take a keynote A and say that this is now a universal sound. What you do is the keynote A can maybe balance this cell or that cell, on a very small scale, but you bring the corresponding universal sound and allow that to reconfigure your cell. It's not the keynote A that's going to become universal. You go reach out and get the proper universal sound that will heal this cell. This is what I'm teaching you. All right? Another quick question. I heard sound mainly from the left side of the brain always. Is this the type of sound we are talking about? It's really not, it doesn't have to be the right or the left. In your particular case, the left side seems to be just the one that's receiving this information, but it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be the right or the left. Go ahead, Willie, did you have a question?
Yes, what is the difference, what makes the difference between light and sound? Because they both have to do with vibration and frequencies.
You are going to feel it, exactly. What is the difference between looking at a block and saying I ask and intend and using light? It's a completely different feeling, and it's a completely different experience to the cell. That's why I'm teaching you sound, because it's completely different. You're going to experience it in just a second. But just to give you a quick example, the sound is, as you saw, it fractures the cellular, you saw in that little clip there earlier how it fractures the actual physical particles, right? You saw how the sand particles started to kind of reconfigure. Well, you would use something like that when the block is it's kind of like it's so old. The tiny particles, at an atomic level, the tiny particles are so stuck together. It becomes very hard. It's like a rock, So if you were to use light in this particular case, it's too soft. It will simply not dissolve it. So in order for you to work through this to this block, you first need to break it up. And so you would basically use sound. In this particular case, you break it up, and then it breaks into several pieces, and then you use maybe ask and intend or what have you. All right, so also I use sound a lot, of course, in the case of psychic surgery, for example, because sound has a very laser-like precision. So if you were to take out a piece of something or move a tissue here and there, then that is the type of tool that you would use. Okay, let's see. When you are more prone to sound, does this mean you are more suitable this means is more suitable tool for your use? No, not necessarily. Most of you, pretty much everyone, you are all receiving information through sound. You are receiving universal sound frequencies into your physical brain all the time. Some of you feel it, hear it like we just mentioned as a ringing or high-pitched tone or what have you. But some of you find that very annoying or distracting, and so you block it out. But that's how you continuously receive information. But the fact that you hear it or you allow yourself to hear it does not necessarily mean that it's a better tool for you. All right? Very good. Good questions. Very good. Some people can take those tones and others cannot. So many people just block this this way of receiving information. All right. So here we go. In fact, your physical brains are continuously receiving information in the form of light through the pineal gland and in the form of sound through the ears. But you're not recognizing that is really what is happening. And of course, we're not taught to utilize this information this way or to recognize them. All right, here we go. So it is best for you to simply experience this information. So let's work on ourselves first. I'd like you to focus on an area in your body that needs help. If you're not sure, simply allow your guidance to take you there. Don't force it. If you want your stomach to be worked on, but then as we begin it's being shifted to your lung, please ask your guidance to help you and don't force it. Okay, here we go. Close your eyes and sit up straight, your feet on the floor. Breathe in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Quiet your mind. Again, breathe in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Go to your heart center. Ask to clear your mind chatter. Imagine that you are sitting in a ball of light. It is your personal sacred space. This sphere of light stops all distractions from the outside world. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale, focus on your heart. Ask to be very clear, very focused, to feel, see, sense, experience the effect of light and sound on your cells. Breathe in. As you exhale, I'd like you to focus on the liver for now. Later on, you will go to your own organs, but for now, please go to the liver. As you wrap your energy around your liver, notice how it feels. Just notice, do nothing. Breathe in. As you exhale, inject into the liver a royal blue light and say 1200 light, and just allow it to be. Notice how your liver feels. Breathe in, and now send 1800 light, same place around the liver. Notice how it feels. What does it do? How does it react? Just feel. And now breathe in. Same thing, still at the liver. Say 0 universal light. How does the liver feel? Breathe in. As you exhale, allow your guidance to take you to another organ in your body. Just allow it to be. As you focus on this organ, wrap yourself around this organ and send the keynote R, galactic R. What happens? A galactic U, same place. Galactic V, same organ. Zero universal sound, same organ. What happens? And go back to your heart and open your eyes. And please let's share the experiences. I'd like to hear the difference between sound and light. Raise your hand if you have a mic, or type in the difference. Of course, the healing will continue. Who would like to share? Okay, Marijke, go ahead.
Well, what I could feel with the light was it became lighter all the way to the base up. And with the sound, it was like there was more movement in it.
One movement?
More movement.
More movement.
Like it was like kind of a very subtle vibration.
Yes. Yes, exactly. It moves it. It moves it around. It reshapes it. It breaks it up. But also the feeling is different. The receiving organ, you know, is different, isn't it? The impact is different.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Sure. Christina's saying, I felt they had similar type of function. The function is the same, as you can see. On the right, you say penetrate, dissolves the block. On the left, it says shatters, breaks up the block. The function is the same. It's the feeling that's different. So Carolyn is saying, light is softer, more gentle. Exactly. Light was more refreshing. Sound was more powerful, almost annoying. Yes, you're right. It's more aggressive, I want to say. But also, George is saying, I also felt that sound was more direct in a way. Exactly. It's as if you are shooting an arrow. It's laser-like. So that's why it feels very directed rather than the light that seems more softer. And also Christina is saying sound feels faster. Yes and no, but it's just it gives you that impression. Go ahead, Nora. What's your comment on this?
Well, you sort of summed it up for me, Carolyn. The light was very soft, and then when you did the sound, it was very intense, and it made my third eye hurt a little bit.
Okay.
I could really feel it intensely. But I really liked it too.
Yes, exactly. It's actually very beautiful, but it's very intense and very powerful. So that's why you don't just shoot, light sound, sound frequencies right and left if you are not sure. It goes very deep, very fast. Yasmin's saying light felt more like melting and the sound feels like breaking. Exactly. So you see, they both dissolve the block. That's the point. But it's the way it's done. That's why sound is more targeted, light is more loving. Well, actually, again, this is our perception that something that is soft is more loving. So be careful with that and the interpretation. Sound is actually very, very beautiful. It's actually, if you really start to work with sound a little bit and get used to comfortable with the universal sound, it's very, very beautiful. It's actually, so it's not that it's more loving. It's just softer. Light is much softer. So you can see. Okay, Carolyn saying sound liquefies and then reassembles. Yes, exactly. So dissolves or liquefies. Kim saying sound is my favorite. So the point that I want to make then it's the relevance of the tool. Remember, so people who just use sound healing, people who just use light, people who just use intent. It doesn't work this way. It is what is appropriate. In this particular case, the client has a block that is so old. I'm going to be working with light all day long, and they're going to come back over and over. It's simply not going to work. I'm going to use sound very specifically with this particular block for just this specific time frame, and then I'm going to switch to something else and to switch to something else. I hope you are beginning to see the sophistication of what you are learning here. You are learning a combination of tools. Each tool is very specific, very targeted. When you go into a session, you will never, by the way, do 2 sessions, even with the same client, that will be the same. If you do this correctly, as you're using this Omnium method, you become a healer that has a universal consciousness, that you are working with various elements from the universe as needed, specifically at the time, targeting exactly what is required at each moment within the session. So no size fits all. You really become a very sophisticated healer, if you want to call it that. Okay. So Pierrette saying, I sent sounds on my eyelids and it was very, very strong. Also at Universal Sound, I saw in front of me my 2 eyes, very clear and beautiful. All right, very good. Very good. Okay, so then you are hopefully enjoying this process. Now we're going to practice. We're going to practice. We've had some volunteers, of course. So we have intent, ask and intent. We have light, we have sound, we have specific frequencies. And of course, since you just learned this, don't worry too much. You're going to have plenty of time to practice these particular sound frequencies when you go back to your notes. So for now, let's put all our notes together from the beginning and work with this first person. We're going to do a surrogate healing, and we're going to begin with France. And we're going to see if we can put all our notes together and practice on his son, I believe. Go ahead, France, tell us the problem and how we can help you. And the rest of you, don't forget to ask to receive the healing yourselves as needed. Go ahead, please explain the situation. Speak up louder, please.
Hello everyone, I am Arnoud, France's son. My problem is my right eye is blind, and physically there are no problems, and mentally also no blockade. So that's a strange part that my right eye is blind. With
Okay, so for those, because your voice is very low, so your right eye, are you completely blind in your right eye? And then when you say there are no physical problems, does that mean that you went to a doctor and there's no medical evidence of a problem?
Well, I went to the doctor and no physical problems, no mental problems, and well, I can see darkness and light with my right eye, but that's it.
You see some dark spots, but you're not totally blind. You see just very.
I see some light. Not all black, but I see light coming through.
Okay, so now you are the person with the problem. So this is not surrogate healing. First of all, I'd like everyone, if you recall, we have different ways of doing surrogate healing. We can, Franz is the father, Arnold, sorry, say your name. Arnold, we're going to call you Arnold.
You can say Arnold.
Okay, so are we going directly to Arnold in this way? Are we working with Arnold and Franz? Are we using Franz to get to Arnold? Of course, Arnold is right here telling us he wants to be worked on, but I'd like you to just take a minute and understand or tune into the implication of Franz, who's the father, in this particular situation. I'd like you to tune into the father, Franz, and Arnold, who's here now, telling us the problem. And I'd like you to take a moment and tell me what is the most appropriate. Go through the fact that Arnold told us his problem directly does not necessarily mean that he's ready to be worked on. That's why I'm bringing this thing up. So the most appropriate, do we work through on Arnold through the father? Do we connect with both and work on Arnold directly? Do we work on both at the same time? Take a moment to merge with the consciousness of Arnold and the father, Franz. And if you ask the question, what is the most appropriate way to work on Arnold? Do you feel strongly work on him alone, directly? Work on him through the Father? Work on both at the same time? Okay, so some of you are saying through the Father, some people are saying to Arnold directly, who is quite clear and ready. And some people are saying both. So you see that this is quite confusing, and you see that you need to practice. When you are working with a parent or the son of a parent or a parent that tells you, I'm going to send you my son. So just practice on what makes the most sense. So there is clearly a connection with this problem and with the father. The idea is what is the most appropriate way. So that's why it's a little confusing, because you all sense the connection and the importance of working on the father as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on Arnold directly. We're going to use this combination. We're going to connect with the father, but we're also going to connect with Arnold. We're going to work directly on Arnold, knowing that eventually some of this condition has also to do with the father. But we're going to use the Surrogate Healing Session 3 version for now, and then we're going to switch to this one. Okay, but for now, let's focus on Arnold and the root cause. Obviously, we want to know why he cannot see from the right eye. And I assume that you've tried many different healings and techniques and stuff like that. I still would like you to connect with the Father and leave him in his own bubble, just like exactly like this, because their energies is like a mishmash. They're all it's connected and it's very confused. And so, as you connect to Arnold, I'd like you to consciously separate the two in this way, as you see it in the picture Surrogate Healing Session 3. All right? Right there, it's going to start to feel better and clearer. And here we go. Breathe in through the nose. As you exhale, connect to both. Arnold on the right, the Father on the left. Consciously intending for the two consciousness to be totally separated and clear. And Franz, I'd like you to also intend that your energy field be not mixed up with your son, for you to remain in your own sacred space and bubble. Very good. And keep yourself in your space, allowing your son to be in his own space. And right there, I wonder if you guys can see the problem. Exactly. Who's having a hard time separating the two? Cannot get rid of the dad's energy. Sorry, Franz, there's no... Oh no, you can leave, get on the plane and go to another country. It's nothing to do with your physical presence. It's you are very, very connected. Energetically, it's like glue. Very good. It's very difficult to separate the two. So, do you see, you guys, how important this work is? You cannot. Before we even begin to work on Arnold, you cannot even begin this session if you cannot clarify the energy field of the two beings, all right? It's one thing to intentionally put the two together in this way, but it's another to try to separate them and not being able to. This is a problem. So right there, we cannot work on this person. We need to specifically ask both of them, to say, I ask and intend to release the, Franz, you say my son's frequency, and Arnold, you say my father's frequency. From my energy field, from every cell in my physical being, Arnold, I'd like you to say, I ask and intend to release my fear and my belief that I cannot have my own energy, that I must remain energetically connected to my Father. I'm choosing now to let go once and for all of this fear and the belief that I cannot be on my own. That I must exist through my Father, Do everything with him and through him. Breathe in. Exhale. What is the reaction here? Arnold is also confused about letting go of the dad. Exactly. What is the reaction? Who else is getting what? Resistance to let go, of letting go, big time. Arnold, we're sadness trying to hold on. Exactly. He's afraid of letting go. Exactly. We are pulling you and you are jumping back into your father's energy. You know, do you guys understand that you cannot begin a healing session if you cannot focus on the energy field of the person? And so we are trying to help this person be in their own space, and there's major fear, major resistance, major confusion about letting go. So we still cannot proceed. There's nothing we can do. All right? Franz and not wanting to let each other go, very dependent, of course. He does not want to hurt his father, of course, but there's a lot of fear. Okay. I'd like you to focus on Arnold. Arnold, I'd like you to realize that letting go of your father's energy does not mean that you are leaving him or he's leaving you. Has no repercussions whatsoever on your connection. This is an energetic connection. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Okay, so I want you to believe that letting go of this energetic connection is a healthy thing. It's like an umbilical cord. Okay, it's kind of, after a while, the umbilical cord, if you're still connected to your parent, it kind of starts to get cumbersome. Okay, so I want you to imagine that it is time to really sever the energetic tie so that you can be yourself in your own space. And Franz, I'd like you to also let go. So here we go. Let's try again. Breathe in. As you exhale, focusing on Arnold. Again, Arnold, repeat after me. I ask and intend to release my tremendous fear of letting go of my father's energy and the belief system that my life will change drastically if I can see clearly with both my eyes, which I'm not ready for. I am now choosing to let go of this fear from every cell in my physical body. My conscious, subconscious, and cellular memory. My conscious, my subconscious, and cellular memory. I ask to release the fear that if I have no problems with my eyes, then I will need no one, and I will detach from my father, which I am not ready to do. Breathe in and exhale. Are you beginning to understand that this is the problem? This is the root cause of this problem. It has to do with the entire existence of Arnold that revolves around being connected to the Father. Now, Franz, this has nothing to do with you. It's not a something that you did or anything. This is the belief system that my life will take on a new meaning. I will be on my own. I will have to detach from my Father. Also, this is a karmic thing. There's a lot of kind of parallel life, past life. It's a very big kind of story that connects the two together. In a strange way, this also has to do with Arnold having to take care of Franz in a previous life. Okay? So he's holding on to this memory and thinking that he still has to be connected to the Father energetically to live his life on the earth. I'm not sure if you've gotten all of this whole story, but this is why it's so difficult to split them up. I mean, to move them, push them apart so that they can be in their own space. But this has to do with the eyes, you see. Ready? We're going to continue working on this. All right, Franz, now I'd like you to repeat after me.
Okay.
I ask and intend
I ask and intend
to release my memory,
to release my emotion,
trauma,
trauma,
and belief that I'm still being taken care of by my son
that I'm still taking care of my son.
in a past and parallel life.
That's parallel.
I'm choosing to let go
I'm choosing to let go
of this memory
of this memory,
and trauma
trauma,
from my right lung, rib cage, rib cage,
sorry,
rib cage.
okay,
Yes?
perfect, okay.
Yeah. Okay, very good. My conscious, subconscious, and cellular memory.
My conscious, subconscious, cellular level,
I'm choosing to erase this memory and trauma now,
to erase memory and trauma
once and for all,
once and for all,
and allow my son's energy to be whole and complete
to be whole and complete
in this lifetime
in this lifetime,
and to stand on his own
to stand on his own.
in this lifetime. Breathe in and exhale. Arnold, focus on your heart. I ask and intend, Arnold,
Well, I ask and intend
to release my tremendous fear that I must let go of my Father
that I must let go
in order to see. So now I'm going to put a blue, royal blue and silver light over both. I'd like you to visualize a royal blue and silver light coming through. This light is the intent is also 1200 light to allow the energetic tide to just dissolve, to settle. It's very gentle. And as I try to again help both kind of find their own space, I'm going to send an RUV, U again, in between the two energy fields, as if I am splitting the two with sound, allowing each one to be in their own space. And I'm going to send zero universal sound to Arnold, reconfiguring very quickly in split seconds a sphere around his body, which is his own sacred space. Breathe in through the nose, Arnold. Exhale. I am once more sending an RUVQ to France to reshape and reconfigure his energy field. And zero universal light from the top into his crown, cleansing instantly his entire energy field, bringing again royal blue and silver light. And I'm going to reshape his energy field with zero universal sound. This is around France. Arnold, I still would like you to focus on your own space. Imagine that you are in your own sacred sphere. And open your eyes and let us know how you feel for the time being. And then we'll share our notes. So, Franz, tell me how you're feeling and what happened.
I feel a bit shaky here.
Shaky, yes.
Kind of relief.
Relief, very good. So I really bombarded you with very powerful energy, so sorry about that. But I think that you guys kind of needed it because it wasn't moving. So, but do you feel, you feel relief? Do you feel something is settled, is reset, is something different has happened?
I had the feeling that Arnold was sitting beside me, that he was getting smaller, so moving somewhat away from me.
Okay, so he's something like is moving away. Okay, what about now, Arnold? Tell me how you're feeling.
A bit dizzy, shaky also.
Yes, dizzy, shaky, of course. Very powerful energy. Sorry, you guys.
It's okay.
Okay.
What do you feel is different?
More independent.
More independent. All right. Okay.
I had a feeling that I became bigger,
You became, sorry, what, bigger?
stronger.
You became bigger.
Bigger, stronger.
Bigger, stronger. Very good. So, first of all, I'd like you to, when you have a moment, to drink some water because the zero universal is very, very strong. And I'm sorry I had to kind of split you up because it was very difficult and taking a long time. And I severed a relationship that you've had for like millions of years together. Over and over and over, you came back in this configuration. So, does this mean tomorrow Arnold is going to see? Maybe, maybe not, because we just took out the domino piece that was holding this whole thing together. So now we have to wait a little bit for the rest of the domino pieces to fall, the rest of the strings that were connected to this energy to start to unfold. Does that make sense? And so, but that is the beginning. You could not have started working on this client. You could have worked a million years. Nothing would have happened if you had not severed this connection. Then you cannot complete the clearing. So what I suggest for you to do, understanding what we just did, knowing that this was at the very bottom root cause, now you have to continue to allow the rest, the strings and the other bubbles to continue to show up and continue clearing as much as you can. Do 2-3 clearings a day. The more you do that, the faster you're going to let the rest of the bubbles pop much faster, like I said, because the main piece is now taken out, so that you can begin to reverse your condition. All right?
Okay.
Very good. All right, so this was quite an interesting example. Let's go to the next person, Joyce. You also have a, by the way, before, if we don't get to see everyone, please forgive me, I'm doing the best that I can. These are very important topics and examples, so we will continue to, next session if you don't get to go this time, all right? Joyce, go ahead. What is your situation? Also, do you want to be surrogate for someone, or what is the problem you want to work on?
Well, it's about my son.
My son, okay, her son.
Yes,
How old is your son?
yes. He's 19 years old.
19 years old.
That's right. Ever since he was a very young child, he showed signs of anxiety. And when he was 10 years old, he was diagnosed with a chronic anxiety disorder.
Okay.
And then later on, when he turned 16 or 17, he started to have panic attacks. And then about 2 years ago, I found out later on that he has been smoking marijuana and drinking quite a lot as a way for him to release this anxiety. And
So what is the problem now, sweetie? Is it that he's still anxious now, or is it that he's drinking? What is specifically the problem?
Well, the problem is basically that I'm not sure, but I think he's still smoking marijuana and drinking. And the problem is that his anxiety, I think, has increased. So he has all the symptoms of severe anxiety, such as procrastination, a period of depression, inability to get on with his work. He's quite, he doesn't, he lacks motivation.
Okay, so we see the problems that now he's taking drugs. You think he is, and he's still to relieve his anxieties or fears or what have you. But you're saying that he's neglecting his studies, his school, and it's not helping his anxiety. So here's a client, a typical client, who is coming with concerns about the son. We heard the concerns, we understand, but understanding how I'm assuming your son's not there?
Well, he's in the house.
Okay, but he's not there with you. Okay, does he want to be worked on? Did you ask him if he wants to be healed?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
He gets angry very easily, especially when I mention anything to do with anxiety or drugs or anything. He doesn't want to know. He gets very angry, starts slamming the doors and throwing things around. And I cannot communicate with him on this subject. He says it's my life, it's my problem, it's none of your business.
Okay, so he doesn't want to hear about healing, about being helped. So this is a typical example of a concerned mother with her 19-year-old child who is not, obviously happy, and who is, in her view, from her opinion, is wasting his life, is in trouble. So how do we proceed in this particular case? Do we just jump in and begin to work on the child? Or do we, For me, for example, I want to have more clarity as to what this client is really asking. I heard the story, but I want to know what this client is intending. So I'm going to say, okay, so obviously you're concerned, but what is your purpose by you asking for this help? What is it that you want?
Well, I would like to have to be motivated to get on with life, to find a healthy way of dealing with any problem. He doesn't do anything. He just, he's not motivated to do anything with his life. He just has these bad habits for me that I want him to get rid of so that he can do something useful with his life, so that he can be independent.
Okay, so now I'm hearing the client say, I want him to have to be motivated and to get on with his life. So to me, who am I working with at this point? And Joyce, by the way, if you get clarity as we are, of course, asking these questions, then you can also jump in.
Yeah.
Of course, we're working with the mother. We're working with the mother because the mother is saying, I want him to do this and that, to become this other person that he's not today, which is totally understandable from a mother's point of view. Of course, it's out of love. But the fact that, what I'm saying is, she's the one struggling. She is and we're not saying the child is right. We are saying that before working on the child, we have to help the mother deal with the problem herself, her problem, that she is struggling with this situation. Does that make sense? So this is the place we begin. So make sure when you have a parent that comes in and tells you, I want to help my son, I want to help my daughter, or my mother, what have you, make sure you are hearing and understanding very clearly who needs the healing first and why. If we don't address the problem of the mother and jump directly to heal the son, then the son may get the healing or what have you, of course, as he's needed, but the mother is going to continue, because it does, even if the child is healed or he shifts or something like that, he may still be doing something if we don't address the mother's perception of the problem. Does that make sense? So make sure you know how to approach this. So before we work on your son, we're going to work with you, Joyce. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here we go. So we're going to close our eyes. Breathe in. Exhale, go to your heart center. We're going to start with a clean slate. Allow the previous healing to just dissolve from your consciousness. Focus on the new client. And with a clean slate, breathe in. As you exhale, expand and merge with the consciousness of the mother, Joyce. And we ask to feel the root cause of her anxiety about her child. With the intent to also help the son, but at this time we are asking to bring the help to the mother. As we focus on the energy field, the spirit self, we ask, what is the root cause for this concern? What are you feeling? What are you getting? What is the root cause? And what tool does she need at this time? Okay, we're beginning to get some answers here. There's panic, tremendous fear of losing him, of his dying. She's expecting the child to fill her life. She's fearful to face her own. Okay, she's not properly connected. Guilt, she needs ask and intend. Fear of not being a good mother. Okay, what is she needing? What is the tool that she's needing? Ever lost somebody, need to save, need to be in control. Joyce's expectations are not being met. She's failing as a parent. She feels she's failing as a parent. Her need to be in control. She may have caused the issue, guilt of her being responsible. Again, need to work on her connection. The attachments are the attachments for her or the child. Fear of being cut out of love, ask and intend. Disappointment, sadness, tremendous sadness that he's a failure, that I'm a failure. Ask and intend. Failure as a mother. Geometry to harmonize, very good. Very good. Okay, so a little bit, a little combination of guilt, but to me, there's also a tremendous sense of panic. I feel like it's almost like she's losing control. There's a sense of, I'm totally in panic mode. What can I do? What can I do very quickly to fix this situation? And of course, that comes from not being connected properly, because I see the information going round and round. In other words, not allowing the guidance or her higher connection to come through and help her. So those who said connection, of course, is right on. Also, those who said light, you're absolutely correct. Of course, there's a lot of reprogramming to do with ask and intend, but I'm going to begin with light to just bring a soothing, calming sense of connection, okay? And then from there, once the connections start to take place, which is really at the root cause of all of her anxiety, then we will see where to go from there. So I'd like you to imagine that the energy of the Divine Father, Creator, who is your true parent. As a parent, He is coming through as a bright, white, gold, and green light. Allow yourself to dissolve the fear of receiving this connection and the belief that if you become very connected, you will have to get on with your life and let go of your children. Believe that receiving this connection is for everyone's highest good. Breathe in. As you exhale, bring this bright light that is the embodiment of your divine parent. Pure unconditional love that has no expectations that brings only acceptance and unconditional support. Bring this light through the top of your head. Allow yourself to feel this divine energy come through. Allow yourself to be loved by your parent. Breathe in, exhale, imagine this consciousness of your divine parent coming through every cell in your physical brain and head and shoulders and arms, wrapping around you like a blanket of love. Now going through your heart center, your lungs. Allow yourself to really merge, to dissolve into this light. Allow the feeling of what a true parent really is. Pure divine light that is here to sustain you, maintain your balance, your clarity. Continue to imagine yourself, every cell in your body dissolving more into this blanket of love. This blanket of love and light is zero universal light. I'm going to use R to break up all the mind chatter, belief systems, and mind energy patterns that are misaligned. I'm going to use U, Q, solidify, I'm going to reshape your mind channels and meridians, RUV, Q, H, I'm using Q on the pancreas level to break up a block, old block, frequency of the mother, of her mother. Breathe in. Exhale. I'm using Q and H to dissociate her frequency from her brother's frequency. Simply allow that to be. Zero universal sound to erase the frequency of the father completely and the brother. I'm going to use geometry. A cylinder of light. Breathe in. Exhale, coming through around your physical being. Silver. This particular geometric shape with all the proper angles allows you to be solid in your connection. To accept more the frequency of a divine, pure parent into your being. Breathe in. Exhale. Go to your heart and open your eyes. And let us know what you're feeling and what you've experienced whenever you can speak.
Well, for when you were using light, I felt that wrapped up by something really warm and comforting.
Very warm and comforting, right?
Yes, yes. When you were using the sound, I felt little jolts of energy, as though something was going through my head and down my spine and aligning something in there.
Yes, jolts, moving things around.
Yeah, jolts of energy.
Right.
Yes, quite strong, quite strong.
Quite strong.
And yes, the silver cylinder was also very amazing feeling of safety, security. I don't know, something really giving a lot of comfort, very comforting.
Comforting safety in the geometry. So you guys see the difference, and I hope you've felt it yourself, how light is completely different than sound, completely different. Tell us how you're feeling right now.
I'm feeling shaken.
Shaken, yes.
Yes, but also, I don't know, like kind of liberated.
Liberated, thank you. So the idea is, of course, the shakiness is because these energies are very powerful, you guys, very, very powerful. So make sure you drink a lot of water. As soon as we hang up here, drink a whole glass of water before you move around. We took out energies very quickly, especially with Zero Universal. So that's the reason why, but liberated. So in your heart centers, can you tell us right now if your son is an issue right this moment, without going to your head? We're talking about how you're feeling.
No, I feel much more reassured about him.
Reassured. Now, do you guys realize that her being in this space was with this amazing reconfiguring, remodeling of her consciousness, bringing this pure divine parent frequency into her? Don't you think this is going to automatically help the son? Of course it's going to, because that is the energy she's connected with. So this is a great example where we don't simply jump into a healing without really understanding who needs what first. This is not to say that it's not a good idea to also work on the son maybe afterwards, but you could not have worked on the son without having addressed the issue with the mother first. Okay? So great examples today with a surrogate healing, how it works, practicing light, practicing sound. Again, I apologize for those who could not come have their turn today. I am doing the best that I can. So please answer my email as soon as you get it, for those who joined a little bit later today. If you want, we will do next week a strictly volunteer and question and answer session, and then we will go from there. Don't forget to also practice. I will continue to email you after this, and then I look forward to working with you on the next class. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed.